Welcome to the Smarketing Show, hosted by award-winning B2B sales performance coach Rick Lambert, who has been selected by many of the world's most recognized companies to help them market and sell to win. Let's join Rick now.
Hello, welcome to the Smarketing Show. I've got a controversial and popular for many people in his audience guest today, Ray Stasecchio, host of End of the Day with Ray. Ray, thanks for joining me today to talk about how to drive social media engagement.
Rick, it's awesome to be here with you. You know, I love what you're doing out there. I know your Smarketing Show. How many episodes have you done now?
I think we're over 100 right now and going strong, buddy. But you must be, how many have you got? I know I watch you on YouTube now. You got commercials coming up before you talk. How many episodes of End of the Day with Ray have you got?
End of the Day with Ray, we're sitting on about 600 episodes. I start my 5th season sometime in June. And then there's a total of about 700 total videos. But the End of the Day with Ray, about 600. Having a ball doing it. Love it.
Well, you know, we've done a lot of work with salespeople, obviously, people in the technology sector, real estate. We're getting into financial sector, insurance, talking about, you know, what do people do on social media to drive engagement? Because I think a lot of people, you know, question its value. You've been able to monetize it now on YouTube to a whole other level. But maybe you could talk a little bit about, you know, what you think it takes to get engagement on social media.
A damn plan, like it takes to do anything. I mean, I think a lot of people, they don't have a plan. What's the purpose of being on social media? What are you trying to accomplish? You're either talking to maybe your end users in whatever vertical you're in. So you want to focus your content on your end users. Maybe your venue is talking to both end users and other professionals that are in your industry, kind of like what I do on the End of the Day with Ray in the print sector or IT services sector. But Rick, you got to have a plan. I mean, you don't do it for the fun of it, unless that's your plan. If your plan's to be, I'm going to do, you know, video and throw it on LinkedIn to have fun, and that's all you want to get out of it, that's a plan. If that works for you, that's great. But I think a lot of folks, you know, they think video is just, you know, they add it to whatever they're trying to do to engage with people, but they have no plan around it, and it kind of fails or falls on its face, or they don't see any value in it.
Well, this is the problem, right? People try it, and then for whatever reason, they don't get the immediate bang they want out of it. But I mean, how many, you know, you and I think are strong proponents of LinkedIn for the business to business sector.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when we work with MBAs, the big question we get asked all the time is, what do I post? And, you know, you would arguably ride the rails sometimes. I know myself, sometimes I look at your posts and I cringe. I'm like, oh, no, I can't believe he's right, but I can't believe he's actually saying these things. Maybe you could speak to, like, you know, if I may ask, why you ride the rails, and, you know, because you're talking to a specific audience, which is technology resellers, we'll call it. But why do you do what you do online to drive engagement?
Because I love what I do. No, Rick, in all reality, you got to, everybody has their own style. And I talked a little bit about this back and forth in a comment with somebody one time. You know, my style is you got to get your attention. You know, if you don't get the people's attention, are they really going to stick around for 700 videos? Are they going to watch me for going into my 5th season? Probably not. You know, I try to have fun with it, push it to the limit. Sometimes I can push it pretty close to the edge. But, you know, that's just
or over the edge, or right over the edge, and then down again over another edge. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
You know, Rick, our industry, you know, and you're used to this print space. You know, it's fallen off a cliff. I mean, it's an industry that's ripe for disruption. There has to be transition. There has to be a lot of things added to the deliverable for these companies to have a continued relevance. And you know, there's no reason to sugarcoat any of this. I mean, I think we're all big boys and girls. Let's just take the ball and run with it. And a lot of times, you know, I don't claim to have all the answers whatsoever, but if I can start some conversations that could lead to those answers, that's my passion. I don't mind doing that. And, you know, I got to admit, it is a lot of fun.
Well, it's fairly evident that you have a lot of fun, and you can see based on how your followers and, you know, the YouTube action you're getting now with commercials, and you're getting paid probably by YouTube now, I think, right?
YouTube's very, very interesting. You know, you have to have 4,000 watched hours in a moving 12-month calendar. So it changes every day, 12 months. And, you know, you have to have 1,000 subscribers, which doesn't, I mean, that's not a lot of subscribers when you look at some of the YouTube real talent out there. Mm-hmm. You know, I only put my videos on YouTube for one purpose in the very beginning. It was an easy place to archive if you have 700 videos and you're in Vimeo, it's just too damn complicated. Then you're buying a license, you're doing all this crazy stuff. If you throw it on YouTube, it's free, number one. And number two, it's easy to move that information. So if I want to reshare it on Twitter over time, or if I want to throw it on Facebook, it's just easy to navigate through YouTube. But ironically, when I had about 600 subscribers, I had already hit the 4,000 watched hours. So I say, well, this is kind of interesting. And then YouTube will start engaging with you when you start getting close. Mm-hmm. But, the subscribers are a different story. You can buy subscribers, and some people do that. I think it's kind of nutty because you want your subscribers to be your audience, so organically to collect 1,000 subscribers without paying for them, unless you're some, you got a venue that's going to bring in a really broad audience. Mm-hmm. Where I'm very, if you think about my audience, it's very rifle to really the print sector, the IT services sector. So there's not going to be 1 million subscribers watching the end of the day with Ray talk about print and IT. Yeah. But I finally hit that 1,000 subscribers. I think right now I have about 9,000 watched hours. So YouTube starts paying you, and it's just it's kind of making me think that some of these YouTube people out there, they're making a crap load of money, because I am generating some money, and that's only off of 300 or 400 views on a YouTube, which is kind of interesting to me.
Well, I think for the people watching today, they're probably several strides away from making money with their social content like you are at this point. If we dial it back, as an agency working with different industries, many of which come from where you and I do, the technology sector, we measure engagement based on likes, right? Shares, mm-hmm. comments. In fact, I was on with a great client this morning, the great folks at Impression Solutions, and we were just walking through how we've exponentially grown engagement, which gets their message in front of more and more of their target customers. What I think you said, though, for our listener that hopefully they're picking up is, number one, you said have a plan. And I think a lot of people don't know what a plan looks like for social media. Mm-hmm. We suggest anyway at the company and or sales rep level, 3 posts a week. You talked about talking to your specific audience. And I think a lot of people, pray and spray their message. They don't talk like you do to one audience. And thirdly, video. Can you talk to video? Because, we've evolved our LinkedIn bootcamp beyond kind of how to set up your profile and do some basic things. I mean, we're deep into video right now, but you're the perfect example. I remember when you started in front of your China cabinet, and now you've, grown. Maybe you could speak to why people should be on video more than maybe they're thinking. Because
nobody wants to read. I used to publish articles every week for 2 or 3 years, and I almost stopped doing that because you write a 700-word article and nobody's going to read it. Video is the welcoming venue. Everybody's, wants to watch a video, and as long as they're engaging. And I think, there's a big mistake some people make in how many likes or how many shares, and we got to be really careful of that. If you look at my venue, if I'm talking about a particular OEM, I could have thousands of users from that OEM watching my video.
Totally.
But that doesn't mean they're going to like it because they probably work for the OEM. Or if I'm talking about HP and I'm a little bit critical of some of the things HP is doing, that doesn't mean they're not watching it. So we really want to pay attention to, who's watching your content. And when you talk to your peers in the marketplace, what are they talking about your content? Because the thing about video and the thing about social media is you don't know who the hell's watching this. I mean, Rick, I could do a video and there might be 30 people from McDonald's that just watch the video. You're thinking, why the hell are they watching this video?
Yeah.
And so, you just never know. And that's kind of where it leads. But it's really about engagement. I think too many people call it. That's why I don't like to call it social selling. Number one, it's not really selling on LinkedIn or selling on YouTube.
Ray, we would argue that the less you sell on social media, the more you're going to sell on social media. I think what you've done is you've unlocked the secret around making your content 100% educational, if I can call it that. Mm-hmm. I don't think I ever remember you pushing people to say, hey, become a member of End of the Day with Ray or sponsor me. I don't think in the years I've seen you do that, which is a lot of our clients say, hey, we got to have a sales message in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. We're like, we'll dial back on that. That's not the way it rolls in social media.
Well, I do have sponsors. Obviously, we all do. I mean, that's who pays my bills, and I may create content that helps drive a message that the sponsor's a benefactor of. I mean, there's a lot of that in what I talk about. But you're right. You can't have a call to action on every video you do that, come by and I'll sell you the best copy machine, or I'm your IT guy. Don't forget to call me, because people won't listen to it. It's supposed to be an engagement, and when you go to the chamber meeting, you don't run up to the first person you see that, basically, and say, hey, you want to buy this from me? You start a conversation with them, and you try to meet new people. And LinkedIn is a place where there's millions of people that you can meet.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate to go all over the world from people that have actually met me on social media or met me in LinkedIn. That's where that relationship started. And it was all based on the engagement, like this, if they like your content, then keep working on the content that they like, and pay attention to what the market and how the market's reacting to you. But keep in mind, you can't just focus on what happens in the comments or what happens in the likes, because there's a whole big world out there. And I'll be honest with you, I've done some math on this on my own little science, but it's like 1% of the people that will watch a video on LinkedIn will engage with it.
It's so true. One of the metrics that we follow is something called impressions, right? And to view a video on YouTube, you have to watch it for 3 seconds to tick, we'll call it. But the LinkedIn platform that you and I think are both agree is like a no-brainer watering hole for today's sales professional. That platform, LinkedIn, has the least percentage of content creators versus, we'll call it, spectators. And so if we agree video, like I'll show a quick visual here, I'll have our guys put something up. So Ray, we talked to a couple hundred real estate professionals on, why to use video, as basic as it sounds. And I was walking them across, we show the video here. This is the strength of a social media post. Is, you put a picture of something. In their world, it's a picture of a house, whatever it is you sell, picture of the product might be. Number 2 strength would be a picture of you in front of the product you're selling. Number 3 would be a narration video. So if you're not as courageous as Ray or me, maybe to go on video, maybe you narrate from behind the camera, they can hear your voice. And then the next step up from that is actually your face in the video talking about whatever it is you're talking about. And I think the more content creation you can do, it's a huge opportunity right now, given, again, that ratio of so many spectators versus content creators. And you're right. I don't know how many people at McDonald's are watching you. Maybe more should, given, how many branches you break on a weekly basis on social media. But it's amazing to me how many people don't comment, to your point. But, when I'm talking to them, they go, hey, by the way, I saw your video on that. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I had no idea you were following.
No, it's true. I mean, it's a wide world. There are people all over the world. It's really is interesting. It's kind of humbling, when you, in the middle of the night, on my website, end of the day with ray.com, you can become like an individual supporter. And, you'll hear the cash register ring where someone in Singapore just bought a, $50 membership to help support the end of the day with Ray. So, you don't know where your audience is. The best you can do is just deliver. Be true to yourself. I think a lot of people get on social media, they try to become somebody they're not. And, that's not going to work for you. And people will see through that.
Totally.
But be yourself. If you have a passion for what you're doing, the best way to share that passion today is through video. A while back it was through writing. And, and one of the world's changed.
Total. I just got off a call this morning with a professional writer, and like anything, some people just need the basics to get going. And by the way, an open mind. I mean, I can remember years ago when you and I met virtually through LinkedIn, watching your videos. And you've always been really open to coaching and putting your stuff out there, going, hey, what do you think of this or whatever? Not saying you always listen, but I think as people embark on this new social, we'll call it ecosystem, a little bit of coaching at the front end from an experienced guy like you, or I mean, we're doing a lot of coaching in video now, can really help someone set the table right for success, because it is complicated. And some people, again, make that tragic mistake of selling. And you and I, when we record a TV show, we probably fast forward through the commercials, right, and get to the content we want to watch. I think people are doing the same on social media. If I see End of the Day with Ray and I think this guy's giving me a pitch on something, I'm past it. But I think people stop on your content because you combine education, entertainment, shock value. They don't know if they're watching a comedy or horror show half the time. But you're being real to who you are. And I just think you do a really strong job on social media.
Well, I appreciate that. And, I have helped people. I remember working with an individual that worked for an OEM, but they're trying to do videos, and he'd send it to me after he did the video, and I'd send it back. Now you got to do it again. But, so a lot of people, when they watch a content creator, whoever that is, especially if they're doing it nearly, almost every day, and they just think, oh, that they're bored to do that, or that's easy. I mean, it's a craft like anything else, Rick. And I always tell people, go back to my very first videos. They absolutely sucked. I know. Can I say that on your show? But they were really, really bad. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any practice. I was reading a script, and it was like, how the hell can I do a video and read something? I know it. I just got to do it. And eventually you just got to keep doing it. You got to practice, you can't just hold the camera in front of you the first time and think you're going to do some great video. You're probably not.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop or keep doing it. It's like anything else.
I don't think anybody can disagree at all with what you just said. And at the front end of our conversation, sometimes the basics, right? Have a plan, speak to your audience, make it educational, not promotional. And I think people would be amazed, as you've been. I mean, you've monetized it now. How just putting their personal brand out there in addition to their company or whatever they sell really helped them be so successful. And by the way, if you look at the top 10 things that people fear most, right? I think, heights and then video's got to be up there on the list nowadays in 2022. Anyway, I don't want to sound like a broken record of this marketing show supporting video, but I thought having you on today, you've done an awesome job. Is there something you would suggest to the viewing audience today who's saying, hey, social media, we realize we got to get into it. We don't really have a plan. We're not sure what to do. As a guy that's been, through the jungle as a tour guide a bunch of times, done it yourself, what would you suggest?
I would suggest that they decide what their goals are. I'm going to make up a goal. So say your goal is you want to reach these 5 CEOs of some major corporations that are in your marketplace. Your goal one day is to go talk to them. First, you got to engage with them. Go on their LinkedIn profile, see what they're talking about, see if they're commenting to anything, see if they've donated money to anything, see if there's anything around this CEO's life that you can relate to, and share a message with them about what you can relate to, not what you could sell them. And if you do that and you're good at that, eventually you'll have a marketplace of thought leaders and leaders that you can engage with, to try to have a meeting with, to try to sell with. And what you might be really surprised by is they might actually reach out to you if you're delivering educational content. They met you just through an engagement, a human engagement, not a selling engagement. And they listen to some of your content and they reach out to you. Hey, I understand you're in this space, you're in the IT space or something. It'd be awesome if you could come talk to me. I mean, it'll almost happen in reverse. We have a whole lot of buyers out there that are on the internet just as much as sellers. And we think it's all about the seller trying to get the buyer. Folks, it's about the buyer looking for the sellers too. Mm-hmm. And if you set yourself in a position as a thought leader, or you're talking about your expertise and you're doing it in a way that's educational, you're giving valuable information, you can target your audience. You just got to do it in a way that engages with them, not sells them, and they'll come to you. It's proof. They've came to me.
You can't fight the success that people have had. I think it's the methodology that they make the mistake. Hey, let me ask you this question. We've got some customers now. We're getting involved in some automation, on social media. And by that, I mean sequences of messages. There's AI, there's robotic automation, there's different platforms now that accelerate, the connections versus, we'll call it organic. Now, I don't think you can argue with the scale of the automation. But there's always that trade-off, I think, authenticity versus automation. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, if we could send a robot out and make calls on customers and get an appointment and have them buy an assessment from a robot, would we do it, or would we stick to having some kind of human interaction? I think a lot of stuff can be automated if you're trying to send a canned message that makes sense to a certain prospect or a certain audience. There's probably some validity to that. But here's the reality. If you're running a company, if you're a salesman in the company, if you're a tech in the company and you want people to know who you are, then you need to take it to the personal level and just realize that social media and an online presence is just part of the new world. And you have to be able to navigate in that intersection I call between the digital and physical world. CEOs that are outsourcing their social media presence, it's just a crazy thing to do. Because the people that you're outsourcing it to, they're going to read the emails that somebody might send you that could have some valuable information that you just missed because you decided to outsource it.
Yeah.
And I can tell the CEOs that I deal with that have outsourced their social media are the ones that actually do it themselves. And it's a very interesting dynamic. And we're seeing a whole lot more of them do it. And if the damn CEO of the company feels a need to be in the social media world, then I think everybody that works there needs to be in it as well. And, like I said, you start automating it too much, you're just going to take away the originality of it. And, you got to do it. It's just part of life. I mean, we could automate the phone call as we were doing phone activity, trying to dial in for dollars, if you will. The only part we automated was so it would get the phone to answer quicker, but it was still a human on the other end. It wasn't a robot. And we all hate when we get a robocall.
Yeah.
So to me, it's the same thing. You don't know what's going to happen when you have two minds that intersect versus AI and a mind. I'd rather have the two minds intersect in that digital world than AI. That's just my, and it works for me. So, I mean, I think we automate way too much, and we have to realize how we benefit from what we automate.
I think a combination is the formula for success, but, okay, so, social media, it's funny. I was talking to a group this morning, tenured salespeople, great client. And one of my slides, Ray, said, it's 2022. And, if you're not doing social media right now in the way that it could potentially be done to create awareness, right, for your brand, boost your consideration rate so people think of you when they're in the market for that, as Ray talked about. It's not a selling thing. It's more of really a connection. You referenced Chamber of Commerce. I mean, it's the ultimate Chamber of Commerce. But hey, Ray, I just want to say thank you for coming on today and sharing kind of behind the scenes. There was no ranting, no raving today, so people might not recognize you, the polite version of this marketing show today. But if you want to see how it's done one way, you could check Ray out on YouTube at End of the Day with Ray. He's got, what'd you say, 600, 700 episodes deep now?
Yep. There you go. You can watch them all. You go to my website, endofthedaywithray.com, endofthedaywithray.com will get you there, or YouTube.
Awesome. Hey, I don't normally end with a quote, but have you got one kicking around over there we might want to end the show with?
Of course. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo. We'll see you all in the End of the Day with Ray. Rick, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Ray. And thank you for joining us on the Smarketing Show.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Smarketing Show. If you enjoyed today's show, please like, share, and subscribe to get the latest B2B insights to help you market and sell to win.